All right, the time is now 6:01, so we are going to go ahead and start the webinar. Welcome and thank you for joining us this evening for CVWD's Water Savvy Landscaping webinar. Tonight's webinar is very special because we will be hearing from a local resident, Mary Welday, who transformed her landscape to be water efficient. My name is Libby Becker, and I will be assisting Mary during this webinar presentation. If you have any questions, please type them in the chat box and we will answer them at the end of the presentation. Before we get started, I have a few things I want to go over. So tonight's presentation will be recorded and available for you to review by the middle of next week. To see a recording of this workshop or past workshops, please visit cvwdwater.com/landscape workshops. On this slide, you can see the available workshops on our website for you to view at any time. As well, our website currently has our virtual Water Savvy Garden Tour. If you're in need of more landscape design inspiration, you can head over to cvwdwater.com to view our Water Savvy Garden Tour. 4 model water efficient landscapes are included, as well as their plant lists. Mary Welday, who will be speaking in a short while, is also featured on our website. She will be the bottom right, the Welday residence. CVWD also has rebates and no-cost programs for our customers. The first one is our controller upgrade program. This includes a landscape evaluation, plus the installation of a weather-based irrigation controller and training on your new controller. CVWD also has a pressure regulator valve program. Customers that are experiencing high water pressure of 80 psi or greater can qualify to have their pressure regulator valve repaired or replaced at no cost. All work will also be performed by a certified plumber. The last program we have available is our turf replacement rebate program. Interested customers can remove their grass and receive a rebate of $3 per square foot for the turf removed. All work for the turf replacement, there are regulations, so please visit socalwatersmart.com for the full details on how to apply for that. Keep up to date on different programs, events, district facts, or water saving tips by following Cucamonga Valley Water District on social media at CVWD Water on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Participants on this webinar are going to be entered into a raffle to win a landscape transformation book, flower seeds, a hose nozzle, and much more. The winner will be announced tomorrow on social media and also will be contacted through email early next week to receive their prize. All right, without further ado, I want to introduce Mary Welday, who is a resident that lives here in Rancho Cucamonga and transformed her landscape from her before picture to this lovely after picture. So I'll go ahead and hand it over to you, Mary. Thank you so much for tuning in and teaching our community. I really appreciate it.
Good evening. Can everybody hear me all right?
I can hear you. Thank you.
Very good. Very good. I'm Mary Welday. My husband and I and family have lived in Rancho Cucamonga or Alta Loma, whichever you prefer, for almost 33 years. And when we transformed this property, it was in really bad shape. It had oleander around it. For years, we would pass this property and we didn't even know there was a home there. So it was really bad. So my husband is a contractor and decided to redo the home and the property. And when we went to do the landscaping, I had a blank slate to start with. One of the things that I wanted to mention, first of all, is know what your property soil is. Your property soil, we have clay, and that was a real surprise for us because we're used to sandy loam. It's a little bit challenging to deal with. and it does retain a lot of water and everything. So you really need to understand what your soil condition is before you really start into a landscaping project. We were very excited to have as much room as we did, and we're exposed to on the corner of Baseline and Burl. So we have a lot of traffic that comes by. And one of the things after my husband did the home, and it came out so beautiful, that I wanted to showcase the front yard too, so that it was more of an outreach to the community. And we do have a lot of people that do stop by and wave, and when we're out there working in the yard, they come and talk to us for a few minutes or ask about plants and what we've done, and share their own ideas. So we wanted to make sure we had community interaction. This home is a 1930s bungalow and it was the only home in the area for some time. So it has some historical provenance in the community. So we wanted to make sure we showcased the home. One of the things we also wanted to do is, since we're, on and off a drought situations, wanted to design for pollinators, do a water-wise or water efficient conditions. So we went ahead and made the plans and executed them. So if you want to go to the next one. On the transformation process, the slide that you're seeing is, did you design your landscape? Yes, my husband and I did the design of the landscape. We tried to take into account the topography of the property. It does slope southeast the water, and we did have some problems with flooding with the property when we first purchased the property, and my husband made sure he put flood control areas in that, so we don't have as much issue anymore. But with the design itself, we wanted to make sure we took in the water, the way the water flowed on the property. And you'll notice from the previous picture that we put in a dry stream bed. That was kind of in the direction where the water would go. And it turned out to be a really nice feature for the property. Let me see, did you hire a landscaper? I usually would like to do the property myself. I do love gardening and changing things out and stuff. I've done it on our other property, but because of the clay, we had to hire somebody else for the installation. You'll notice, hopefully, if you've come by the property or you've seen pictures, that we have two large Palo Verde trees in the front yard, and those are the state tree of Arizona. But when we went to go and install them, we had to use a jackhammer to make the holes in order to install the tree. So it was a big ordeal. So we did hire somebody to come and help us with the stream bed and installation of plants. The transformation, we did it in like 2-3 phases. The first phase was after we had already cleared out the property of the other vegetation, was the stream bed. We wanted to lay it out, get it all working, see what other areas we had left for planting and for some meandering trails. So the stream bed was first, and then we laid out paths and planting and some other ideas. And that took about 3 or 4 months. So you can go ahead to the next slide. Oh, wow, that's pretty. So you'll see a Palo Verde that's there. That, like I said, is the state tree of Arizona. It's called a museum Palo Verde, and it's beautiful. It has a really like a light green trunk to it, and the flowers are the yellow that you see, and they attract bees and bumblebees and hummingbirds, and there's so much wildlife that comes along with it. Going to the right, you'll see lavender. We have about 3 different kinds of lavender on the property that we put in. And as much as I wanted to do southwestern design, I also like lavender, and we've been able to use it for other purposes. And it smells glorious and provides a lot of opportunities for pollinators. We have French lavender, we have English lavender, and we have a Spanish lavender on the property. Going to the right, you'll see horsetail reed grass. You'll see that it's contained in a planter along the wall. We did that on purpose because horsetail can be invasive and can really spread. So we wanted to make sure it was architecturally beautiful for the property, and we also wanted to make sure that it was contained and non-invasive. And you do have to go through and trim them up every once in a while. You find some that are already spent, and when you clean it up, it just looks so beautiful with the vertical architecture. The next one, it was one of the grasses we put in. It's a feather grass. We have a number of grasses on the property, but this was one that I thought was outstanding. And you can put it in a dry area, or you can put it along the stream bed. It really does well. And the little, I don't know if they're flowers, but the little feathery part is it's stunning. And the birds like to play in it. On the bottom at the left, you'll see a common rush. We put rush in along our stream bed, and that has had really good performance. It can be a bog plant, and a bog plant means that you have it in a little bit of water, or along a riparian river, you can find rush. So I think it's a very ornamental plant, and it just gives a lot of stability for the design. The last one you'll see is an aloe plant. These are very structural. They're going to get very large at one point or another, depending on which one you choose. So make sure you provide a lot of room, as with some of the other plants that I've talked about. So I really have enjoyed each one, and my list is at least 3 pages long. So you'll see that there's a number of choices. Next slide, please. Oh, good. Hardscapes that we used, the stream bed. Oh, that has just been such a wonderful piece. We see when there's water in it, we've seen wildlife in the stream bed. We've seen birds playing in it. It does pull down at the bottom. So when there's water in it, the birds are kind of playing in it and all the other animals. So it's been really such a beautiful design piece for this property. We did use large, we call them monolith boulders, and large stone pieces. One of them is one that you can sit under one of the trees. We did use that as trying to set a natural where you would find in a river setting. We also used DG, which is decomposed granite, and for the pathways. That has been very useful, and because we made meandering paths so that you could take your time going through the property. And the DG seems to be one of the best things to use. Let me see what else we used. Hardscape, we don't really have any other hardscape, really. We're planning on putting a footbridge over part of the stream, but that has not happened yet. So please, next slide. Irrigation, we're on a drip system, and it's just a slow drip. We chose that to hopefully make sure that when we're in a drought a drought situation, that we can control how much water is going on the property and not leaving the property, hopefully. And one of the things that we did end up using was gorilla mulch to go ahead and make sure that the plants stay hydrated, and to make sure that it looks good, but it also provides for protection for the plants in the soil. We our watering schedule, we're not on an automated, well, yeah, we're on an automated system. We don't have the newest automated systems, but which I've seen out there that are really good, but this seems to work for us. What our goal is with the plants is trying to get it where we only water very occasionally. We don't want to be on a daily basis or a weekly basis. We're trying to get some of the plants to be on a maybe twice, maybe 3 times monthly basis. So that's kind of our goal. Next slide, please. Oh, lessons learned. Oh my, we don't have enough time for that. I really enjoyed how the property and the design came out. It really added a lot to the actual property itself, to the home that my husband restored. And I think it's something enjoyable to look at when you drive by and stuff. And I liked using the different materials that we used and plants. What would I do differently? Again, I have never had clay before. That was a real eye-opener for us. And we're still learning, because if you plant for example, if you plant a tree too low, you might end up losing it to rot, because the water stays in the bottom of the clay, the hole. And so we're kind of learning as we go along which ways to plant these different trees and bushes and everything. What else would I do differently? Some of the plants that we put in were just, we didn't realize, again, how large they were going to get. I have, my husband laughs at me because I always say they look like they're small Volkswagens. Some of them get way too big. So if you have an opportunity to go to an arboretum, or say the Maloof Gardens in town, you want to see what a full-sized version of the plants that you're putting in, what they really look like, and how big they get and how much space you have to work with. We do have quite a bit of space. You'll see when you come by the property that there's some spots that are kind of empty. And we've taken some major overgrown plants out, and we're rethinking what we're going to do with those spots. But that's one of the things I would do differently. I'm trying to think. There's a lot, but I'm just saying, do your homework, see what you really love to have. But do your homework before you put everything in and spend all your money. Next slide, please. Oh, what tips would you give homeowners who want to create a water efficient landscape? Again, top tips, I would do my homework. Lay everything out that you have on your, that is the area you're planning on designing and landscaping. Know your limits. I'm pulling weeds a lot at the property, and even with the mulch and everything else, we get a little bit of rain or a little bit of dampness and I'm back to pulling weeds. So know what your levels are when it comes to what you want to do with your landscaping. Let me see. See how much money you want to put into something. If I could give a tip, it would be put your dollars that you have into your hardscape, because plants come and go at times. Depending, we're about to replace one of our Palo Verdes because in the winds it snapped, and so now it's kind of falling apart because of the way it was broken, and so that tree is going to cost us a lot of money. So make sure you put your money into your hardscape and kind of really think about what you want to put into your design. If you want to put lighting in, or you want to put meandering paths, or a different type of design, just think it through, put it down on paper. Some people have used computer programs, and that if that's you're savvy on that, then that's a really good way to go. But put your givens down and know what your limitations are. If you have a slope, know that you're going to have some runoff possibly. You might want to put it as a meandering path that kind of goes with the contour of the landscape. I don't know. As much as I just give an example of an English garden, I would love to have an English garden, but we just don't live in that location. So you might want to look at Mediterranean climate, Mediterranean plants, and that type of genre. You can go to the next slide. Recommended nurseries. There's quite a few nurseries that are located close by. One is Garrison's up on campus and Baseline Road. They they do a very nice plants. It's a husband and wife that own it, and they really care about not using pesticides and everything else. They have some very nice plants, and they're pretty reasonable. Another nursery that is close by is HGC. It's up on 19th Street, up near off campus, near Kohl's. Is the little shopping center there. It's right across the street. They are also another really good nursery to go in. Very knowledgeable when you ask questions. Hold on. Excuse me. They're very knowledgeable if you go in and ask questions. Even if you don't purchase anything, they're very open to telling you the pros and cons, or if they don't have it, they can probably give you ideas to go to another nursery or another site. Where to purchase plants? Okay, I think that this is good. Sunshine Nursery down in Ontario. It's at the right just past the 60 freeway off Milliken and Hamner. That's a really good place to go get your materials. They have a lot of if you need rock, if you need sand, if you need gravel, if you need soil dropped off, any of those things. Plus they have plants and everything else. Another place to kind of get some ideas is Thompson's Nursery and Building Supply over in Fontana. So look around, get your best prices. Don't just jump at the first one. You can shop around and get some really good ideas and some plants. Next slide, please. Okay. Go ahead. Do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, I can take over this one. So thank you so much.
My pleasure.
We wanted to add this slide in so Chino Basin Water Conservation District is somewhere that our customers are able to go to participate in their compost and their self-serve free mulch. So if you're in need of compost or mulch for your project, I definitely recommend this location. That way you can use these supplies. So for the compost, they have giveaways that take place from 8:30 to 11:30 a.m. on the first and third Saturdays of each month. And then they also have their free mulch, which is available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. until supplies last on a first come, first served basis. Now it was closed a few months ago during the shutdown. I believe they just reopened, but you would want to give them a call first before you head out there, since it is located in Montclair, just to make sure they're open and you are able to get some compost and mulch. Both of these are self-serve, so you will need to bring your own tools and bins and load it into your car by yourself. but it's definitely something that you should check out if you're very interested in transforming your landscape. And then Mary Welday was kind enough to release her address to our participants. So if you are interested in driving by her house, this is going to be her address, 9085 Baseline Road. So headed towards Altaloma High School and Red Hill Park in that area. Beautiful property. I definitely recommend you go park and look at her landscape. It's a great example if you're looking to transform your own landscape. And then, of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me if you think of any in the upcoming weeks. I'd be more than happy to get in contact with Mary and receive a response for you. But other than that, we're going to go ahead and transition into our question segment. And I did see that we have one so far. So let's see here, Mary. I believe you might be able to see these as well, but I can go ahead. Okay.
Yeah. If you keep talking, I'm going to go ask these two questions really quick.
Okay, that works out great. We will be waiting for your answer. So just for everyone else on the call, we have two questions right now. If you want to ask any questions, please feel free to type it in either the chat or the question and answer box. That way we can answer them live on the call since Mary is here with us and she has all of the experience from when she transformed her landscape. So the questions we have so far, I see one that says, where do you source decomposed granite locally? And then we have another one that asks, did you use a filter / pressure regulator and who installed it? Great questions.
I'm back.
All
Sorry.
right.
I went to go talk to the source. I'm so sorry. As to the filter pressure regulator, my husband is a plumbing contractor. And so he went ahead and put that in, and between my husband and the gentleman and his crew who installed the plants, they put in all of the plumbing lines and everything like that. So, but the pressure regulator was via my husband, who's a plumbing contractor. So you want to, you would check that out as you're doing your design to see, you know, who would be the one to install that. If you're handy, you might be able to do it yourself, or you might have to seek out somebody that's what they do. The other question that we had was about decomposed granite, and is it sourced locally? One of the best places we located ours was at Thompson's Building Supply in Fontana. They're right off Cherry, just south of the 10 freeway.
Awesome. Thank you so much for answering that. Doesn't look like we have any questions at the moment. Let me check the chat one more time.
Weed abatement under the rock. Okay, let me see.
So what do you weed abatement under the rock?
Oh, the rock in the front. That has, we have weed barrier down, but because our property, we've done this, we did this landscape a few years ago, and it's ongoing. Some of the weed barrier has disintegrated, or been taken out or whatever. So we're having an ongoing challenge with the weeds under the rock. I do not want to spray. I don't want any pesticides on the property. And so you'll see me out there. I'm out there pulling it. And I'm looking for, especially at that corner of Baseline and Burl, I seem to be getting a lot of weeds under the rock there. So I'm looking for an alternative ground cover for that one specific area that seems to be problematic.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry, it's not a better answer. It just takes the work.
All right. If anyone has any more questions, we'll go ahead and stick around for a few minutes. If not, I do recommend you check out our virtual water savvy garden tour at cvwdwater.com. That way you can get an even better look at Mary Welday's property, and you can view all of the plants. So like she said, although we only showed 6 here on our webinar, she does have a list about 3 pages long full of all types of plants that she used. So if you're looking for more plants besides the ones that we already discussed, that's a great place to see those as well. There's going to be a mini walkthrough tour. That way you can get a 360 view and kind of pretend like you're actually there at her landscape, taking a look at it. And then of course, if you're in need of her address again, feel free to email me and I can definitely get that over to you. But other than that, we're going to conclude the webinar and Mary and I will stay on for a few more minutes if anyone has any last questions they'd like to ask. Thank you so much for attending. And of course, the raffle will be taking place tomorrow. So please be a lookout on our social media for the winner.
Thank you, everybody. Good luck on the raffle.
And thank you, Mary. You were awesome. I love listening to you and just learning so much about landscaping and plants. I really appreciate you sticking around and helping our residents as they transform their landscapes to be water efficient.
My pleasure. Anytime.
All right, Mary. So it looks like we don't have any questions right now. If anything pops up, I'll be sure to get in contact with you. Oh, we just got one right now. Materials used in the mulch. Do you happen to know that question, Mary?
The mulch, we used it's called gorilla mulch. And we used it because unfortunately we get a lot of winds in Ranch Cucamonga area, and we wanted to make sure that the mulch stayed where it was, and so it was recommended to us to use what's called gorilla mulch. It kind of grabs on to the soil and kind of stays there, and it's worked out really well. And it's still there. We're seeing where we need to replace part of it, but after I think, what is it, 2 years, 3 years, it's actually still stood up. It is organic, so it will what is the word, naturally decompose, but it actually looks really good. It's kind of a light brown color or a brownish color, and it really does add a lot to the landscape. But yeah, you can also see different types of mulch when you go to the garden centers. They have them labeled. Sunshine Nursery has that all labeled next to their office. And you can see the different types that you would like. Some people like the non-organic ones, but I prefer an organic solution.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I'm not sure. I saw the question about compared to Scott at Home Depot. I'm not sure about that one. I'd have to check out the difference between them. When it says gorilla mulch, that's not the manufacturer. That's just a type of mulch. You know, there's the bark mulch and other ones, but this is kind of more of it's kind of hairy. It sounds kind of weird. It's kind of hairy and it grabs on a little bit better. And if you've been in the winds and you've had regular mulch down and you lose it all, It's really very, very frustrating. So that was our very best choice. And so I can check out the one about Scott's, and I can go ahead and get back to you if you'd like, Rita.
Awesome. Thank you, Mary. All right, so it doesn't look like we have any more questions, so we'll go ahead and end the webinar. So thank you so much, everyone, for attending, and I hope you guys have a great evening.
Oh, you too. Thank you so much for everybody.
All right, bye.